It's Tuesday, December 29th, 2020. You know, I wasn't even going to make a video today. So much going on. And I'm just personally trying to decompress from everything that is going on, especially when I watch our politicians. The average American now is in so much trouble. Congress could not agree to $2,000. Maybe that will be worked out in the next 24 hours. I hope it is, because so many people are getting so desperate. And what is $600 going to do for the average household? And earlier today, I was looking at the U.S. debt clock, and I'm thinking about this $600 stimulus check that we're all going to get. I guess they're going to be sending them out tonight. So we should all be excited about $600. But what is $600? It is a spitball into Niagara Falls, basically. It is a raindrop in an Olympic swimming pool. It is nothing. We are getting nothing but crumbs here. You know, I read an article the other day. Every American could get $2,000 at $183 billion. It would cost the federal government $183 billion to give every American $2,000. So think about where that $908 billion is really going to go. But I want to get back to the national debt clock here. Let's talk about what this $600 is going to actually do. When you have a national debt right now exceeding $27.5 trillion, state debt right here in America is exceeding $1.194 trillion. So it's basically at about $1.2 trillion and surging. Interest on our debt right now is over $344 billion. That's just to service the debt. So we cannot raise interest rates. If we do, it's going to be a disaster. Median income in America is $34,000. And what I thought was interesting is they showed the median income of the average American back in 2000. It was $30,000. So back in 2000, it was $30,000, and here we are in 2020. It's only up $4,000 over 20 years. Think about that. The median income is only at $4,000 over the last quarter of a century. Median new home is $325,000. And this is where there's a contradiction. When we talk about this housing boom and everybody buying houses, when you have an average median income of $34,000 and the average median new home price is $325,000, that's 10 times the income of the average American. So there is something very, very wrong with these numbers. We have 35 million people presently living in poverty right here in the United States of America. And let me tell you, I think these numbers are very, very conservative. But I'm going to go with these numbers. They're still startling no matter what. So we have 35 million people living in poverty in the so-called wealthiest nation on planet Earth. U.S. trade deficit with China is almost at $300 billion. We have 55 million retirees. Watch out for your pensions, ladies and gentlemen. Food stamp recipients. We have 45 million people receiving food stamps in America. We got really, really big trouble here. And if you think a $600 Band-Aid is going to solve the problem, you are living under a rock. Article I was reading on Zero Hedge talking about the $600 stimulus. And I'm going to kind of just paraphrase, and I wrote down some notes here. The question in this article on the Hedge is, how is $600 going to help millions of people on the verge of eviction? We've got around 12 million people right here in America on the verge of eviction. What is $600 going to do? This is, when you think about, let's say, a family, 2-3 kids, husband, wife, their grocery store bill is probably easily $300. So what is $600 going to do for the average family? It's probably going to get them two runs to the grocery store and a tank of gas. That's what it's going to do. Right now, As I said earlier, we have 12 million renters that are looking at eviction. And when you look at how much money they owe, on average, these renters, 12 million, owe more than $5,800. That's how much behind they are on rent and utilities. $600 means that these people will still be about $5,000 behind on their payments as we enter the new year of 2021. 70%, this is very interesting here in this article, 70% more people are paying rent on a credit card this year compared to last year, 2019. So I think that number is staggering. Just think 70% more people are paying their rent on a credit card compared to last year. Even think about that though. People are actually paying rent on a credit card. People are going to the grocery store on a credit card. Many people can only hope that the stimulus checks will get bigger, much bigger, as the national debt skyrockets. So look, people are going to starve, people are going to be evicted, people are going to be living on the streets unless the government hands people money. That's the way that they believe they can fix things. They don't look at another option, maybe creating opportunity, maybe creating jobs. Why are we not ever talking about paying the debt down, talking about creating manufacturing here in America, bringing things back to America, giving people opportunity, paying this debt down? No, we're never paying the debt down. Opportunity is disappearing in America. Remember, every additional dollar that we borrow is making our long-term problems much, much worse. And it's going to make the collapse tragic. This collapse is going to be so much worse now because of the amount of money that we have borrowed, the amount of money that we have printed. This collapse, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be so bad. It really, this scares me how bad this is going to be. This is the big meltdown, ladies and gentlemen. We are watching it take place right before our very eyes right now. Somebody wrote me, a couple people actually wrote me a couple videos ago, and they just said they're getting sick and tired of waiting for the collapse. I'm crying wolf. These people must have a mental issue. They must be oblivious to reality. They must be so naive. You're watching the collapse take place right before your very eyes. Nobody's crying wolf here. Maybe you didn't hear $27.5 trillion in debt, $160 trillion of unfunded liabilities, pension crisis, state crisis, local government crisis. We have a jobless crisis, a homeless crisis, and there's people saying, I need to stop crying wolf. They're getting sick of waiting for the collapse. You're watching the collapse take place right now. Question is, how many jobs, when we get the job numbers on Thursday, how many jobs will it be this time? The last Thursday, we got the job numbers for the previous week. 885,000 people filed unemployment claims. It was over 800,000 the week before that. I mean, you don't see a collapse here? To the people out there that are writing such idiotic questions and statements, what is a collapse to you? Maybe you have a job, maybe you have a government check coming in and you're okay. Maybe your pension is paying you right now. But don't you think it's a crisis, a collapse, when we're losing over 800,000 jobs a week, when we're approaching $28 trillion of debt, when we have vacant buildings piling up all over America, when we're seeing food lines in Chicago 15 blocks long, but that's not a crisis to you? Unbelievable. What you need to do is start looking out your window and really see what's happening. Take a drive, get out of your house, get off the couch, and actually see what's going on. Maybe you are receiving that pension check. Maybe you have a job right now. Maybe your life is good. Maybe it's better than ever. But there are tens of millions of people who are suffering in America, and this country is not going to make it if we have tens of millions of people jobless or homeless or food insecure. It is not going to make it. Tent cities are popping up from coast to coast. That's a fact. Homeless everywhere. My area, every day we go out, we see homeless people everywhere. We see tents everywhere. Massive unemployment. 40, 50 million people in America now presently unemployed, but that's not a collapse to you. Government is sending checks to America, $600 of crumbs to you. If things are so good, why is the government even sending you a check? Suicide in America is up 90%. It is absolutely soaring. Why? Because there are big problems here in America, and a lot of it is coming because of the financial disruption taking place in the average household. People cannot pay their bills, their cars are being repossessed, they're on the verge of being evicted, people are in mortgage forbearance. We're going to see a housing crisis unlike any we have ever seen, ladies and gentlemen. Yet there are people out there that think that there's no collapse. The collapse is staring you in the face right now. We have never ever seen things this bad. This is beginning to dwarf what we saw back in 1929. There were massive soup lines and food lines back in the Great Depression, but we never saw food lines 15 blocks long in the winter. We never saw car lines 6-7 miles long like the ones we saw in Dallas, Texas, the long lines we're seeing in Florida. How about the massive food lines we're seeing in Hawaii? It's happening everywhere. It's happening minutes from my house right out here in the desert. We've got Skid Row in Los Angeles. And the sad thing is, everybody talks about Skid Row in LA. Skid Row is coming to you. Skid Row is coming to your town. Skid Row is coming to America. Take a good look around, ladies and gentlemen. It is beginning to collapse all over America, coast to coast. It is happening. It's not just happening in New York. It's not just happening in San Francisco. It's happening everywhere. I continue to make these videos to remind every one of you to continue to prepare, to be very cautious where you're putting your money, where you're spending your money, how you're investing your money. I cannot reiterate the message enough that you must pay attention to what is going on. You have no idea what you might wake up to tomorrow. We have never lived with so much uncertainty with what's happening politically, socially, and financially. And this is why you better be awake spiritually. You better be spiritually secure. You better be walking close to God, because I cannot stress enough. I'm getting very, very worried with what I'm seeing. I live in a pretty decent area, and the warning signs are everywhere. I couldn't even imagine some areas in the Midwest, what it must be like right now, what it must be like to be in the restaurant industry back in the Midwest or East Coast with the weather, with the snow coming down, people forced to close down. All of our restaurants are takeout only, indoor, outdoor dining completely closed. The middle class, the small business owner are being absolutely decimated. And you ask, where's the collapse? Absolutely ridiculous that people would even ask such a stupid question like that. Your country is collapsing right in front of your very face, and most people are too dumb to recognize it. We have adults playing video games. We have people with drug addictions. They're addicted to their pharmaceuticals. They're addicted to their phones. They're addicted to their televisions. Yet their pensions are being obliterated. Their country is being obliterated. Their futures obliterated. The buying power of their dollar is being obliterated. And people continue to walk around like zombies. And unfortunately, people may get what they deserve. And if you want to walk around like a dumbed down zombie, this country is going to be destroyed. It will be over. And if you want to see what a debt slave is, you're about to see what a debt slave is. We have millions of people who are going to be debt slaves in 2021 who were not debt slaves in 2020. Now dependent on the government to help them, dependent on the government to bail their business out. Taking loans from the government, doing business with the government, in bed with the government. The government's going to own everything, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to own everything. People won't be able to pay their loans back. Government's going to come in, take their business. Government's going to come in. These central banks are going to come in and start buying up all these houses when people in these forbearances cannot make those payments. When people get evicted out of those apartments and they're homeless, and the landlords lose everything, guess who's going to come in and buy up all those apartment buildings? It's going to be the banks. It's going to be the central bank. It's going to be the Fed. We look at how New York is being destroyed. Right out here, 2 hours from my house, Venice Beach being destroyed. Homeless encampments everywhere. Businesses just shutting down, permanently gone. There will be some financial institution, whether it's the central bank, whether it's a hedge fund or some Wall Street money, that's going to come in and buy all this stuff up cheap, right? It's almost like it's all being done purposely. Who knows? But when you see what's being done to areas like Venice Beach and areas in New York and San Francisco, is this all being done on purpose? Are we going to see institutional money, hedge funds, banks come in and buy all this vacant real estate up? Who knows? But what I do know is the average American is going broke in the meantime. And it's a very, very concerning time in America. And I don't know at this point how it's going to get fixed. Printing money is not going to fix it. All it's going to do is make the collapse much, much worse. If we do not have jobs, if we do not have opportunity here in America, this country is done. It's game over. So maybe the institutional money, maybe the hedge funds, maybe the banks will come in and buy it all up, and maybe they'll start selling it to foreign buyers. Maybe more Chinese money will come to America and buy up all this vacant property in Venice Beach from the banks, from the hedge funds. Maybe it will be China and other foreign entities that come in and buy up all that New York real estate, all that Venice real estate. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but it all seems very, very suspicious to me how all this is being allowed to happen, how homeless encampments are being allowed to just pop up anywhere, especially in Los Angeles. I mean, it is unbelievable what is happening, at least in the state of California, but it's happening everywhere, and it's going to continue to happen, and it's going to continue to get worse. So make sure that you are protecting yourself, you're protecting your family. Nobody's coming to help you, ladies and gentlemen. There is no bank, there is no government, there is no police department, there is no hedge fund, there is no Wall Street. Nobody is coming to help you. And when they decide to pull the plug on Wall Street, when this whole house of cards comes tumbling down, this thing is going to be absolutely Mad Max. Stay safe. God bless. Thanks for all the prayers. Thanks for all the letters. Thanks for all the donations. We're going to put that money to good use. We're going to go out and help some of these homeless people that need some help, the animals, the dogs that need it. So we're going to hopefully be doing that in the next couple weeks. I want to thank everybody for all of your support. This is not possible without you. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. God bless.